What is up guys, Joe here, welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another episode of FreeLanda, and in this one we're going to be taking a closer look at season 1, kind of a season review. Of course it was a year of ups and downs for Mikel. Let's take a closer look at it. So we started in February in Portugal at the Volta Algarve. We came second overall. We did win stage 2 in very fine fashion on that mountain stage, but 40 seconds on the time trial cost us the GC win to Vincenzo Nibali, but it was a decent start to the year. And following that we had Paris-Nice, a race we did pretty well in, finishing on the GC podium in 3rd place, and that was mainly thanks to our stage win on the final stage. That was a beautiful stage win, kind of attacking on the final climb to join the breakaway and winning it in the sprints. Again, the time trial on stage 5, we came 48th and cost us a bunch of time again. Following that race, we went to the Zelia Basque Country Tour in Spain. We came 6th overall, not the best performance overall. It was very close though. We had, I think, 3 podium finishes on stage 2, 4 and 5. Of course, winning stage 4, I think we should have been awarded some time on the rest of the GC guys, which kind of cost us in the GC on that stage 4. So following that, we went into our Ardennes Classic season. Starting with the Amstel Gold Race, we came 12th. Then 11th in La Flèche-Wallonne and 15th in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. In pretty much all of those races we finished in the front group, but our lack of sprint kind of cost us and didn't really give us a chance in the end. We then moved on to the Vuelta de Madrid, and we did do pretty well in this race. Even though we came 3rd overall, we did win stage 1, but the main mountain didn't really create any gaps on stage 2, but it was our teammate Yvan Garcia Cortina who did win the overall. So we then moved into the Criterium de Dauphiné in the build-up to the Tour de France. A very strange race with a kind of weaker start list. Our main GC rival was Jakob Fuglsang, and we dealt with him in the mountains, winning both stage 6 and 7 in fantastic fashion. He did beat us to the finish in stage 8, but we won the GC in fine fashion in that race. And that was actually Mikel Landa's first win in a stage race at World Tour level. Crazy to think at 30 years old. So we continued our build up to the Tour de France with La Route d'Occitanie, again winning the GC, and I think we won 2 stages, beating the likes of Quintana and Iran in that race, before moving into the national championships, the final races before the Tour de France. We finished both 4th in the time trial and the road race. A shame Garcia Cortina didn't wait for the sprint in the road race. And then we did, of course, move into our big objective of this season, the Tour de France, and we know it was a disappointing race for us, finishing 7th overall, I think about 6 minutes down on the eventual winner, Thibaut Pinot. We were in contention up until Mont Ventoux on stage 12, where we finished 2 minutes down on Geraint Thomas and most of the other GC guys. And yeah, from there it was just a downward spiral, to be honest, finishing outside the top 10 on pretty much all the stages. And to be fair, I'm not sure quite why, but our fitness peak kind of ended in the first week, even though I had it down as an objective from the start of the season. And that really did cost us in the race. We managed to hold on until Mont Ventoux, and I think we looked pretty strong to that point, looking like one of the main GC contenders with the time trials coming up, of course, which we did have in mind. But still, very disappointing race. Next year's Grand Tours have to be better. And so, after our disappointing Tour de France, I decided to skip the Vuelta a España this season. We will be riding it next season, but I decided to skip it because we're in terrible form, to be honest. But we did focus on one-day classics for the remainder of the season. So we came 6th in the Classica San Sebastian, decent result there. We then came 4th and 1st in the 2 Canadian races in Quebec and Montreal. Beautiful win in Montreal, and that really helped kind of regain my confidence in Mikel. We then came 4th in the World Championships, a fantastic result, finishing in that front group including Van Avermaet, Trentin and the new world champion Julian Alaphilippe. We then tried to build up to Il Lombardia in Italy, which would be our final races in the season. We came 3rd at the Giro d'Emilia, finishing behind Pogacar in that race. We also came 3rd in Milan-Torino, and it was Pogacar who won that race as well. I thought he would probably win Il Lombardia, but in the end, it was Maxi Schachmann beating Julian Alaphilippe in the sprints. We came 8th in the final monument. So like I said, definitely a year of ups and downs. The Tour de France being the main disappointment, which we need to fix next season. But apart from that, we did finish 4th in the World Champs. Very good result there. 3rd at Paris-Nice. We won the Dauphiné, of course. We won La Route d'Occitanie. And in general, we did look pretty dangerous for the most part. So looking forward to another big season next season for Mikel. So I think we can look at the rankings for this season. And you can see we did finish 5th in the World Tour standings, only behind Alaphilippe, Pinot, Froome and Valverde. So a very strong season overall for Mikel. I prefer to look at the Super Prestige rankings. I think they are the rankings the game uses. And you can see we did win the Super Prestige standings, just beating the Frenchman Alaphilippe and Pinot. Pogačar was 4th and Valverde 5th here. And you can see it was Phil Bauhaus in 89th place, the next best rider on the team. Not quite sure what he did this season. You can see his results right here. Some good results in kind of the lower category races. And if we go to the team Super Prestige standings, we finished 13th position. So we definitely did carry the team. Hopefully we will improve as a team next season. And looking at the riders with the most wins this season, it was Javier Naranjo. Can't say I've heard of this guy, to be honest. I have no idea if he's any good. 30 wins for him though, and it was Buani with 28 wins. I think Ackermann, the highest rider in the World Tour. So looking at the other big results this season, it was Egan Bernal winning the Giro ahead of Nibali and Pogačar. Pinot, of course, won the Tour de France, and it was Enric Mas, a surprising winner of La Vuelta a España. He just beat Simon Yates. I think it was by about 10 seconds or something. Valverde was 3rd. So you can see here the other results in the other major stage races. Valverde winning the Tour Down Under. Krauth Andersen won the Big Bank Tour. And of course, we won the Criterium de Dauphiné. Moving on, Julian Alaphilippe, the new champion of the world. And Nairo Quintana, the champion of the time trial. Still can't believe this. This is just crazy. So moving on, the monument winners this season. Arnaud Démare again winning Milan-San Remo. Ollie Naesen winning the Tour of Flanders. We've got Wout van Aert winning Paris-Roubaix. Van der Poel won Liège-Bastogne-Liège. And Maxi Schachmann winning his first monument in Il Lombardia. And finally, the other classics you can see right here. We've got Teunissen, Démare, Schachmann again. Alaphilippe amongst other winners. We're here in the form of the Montreal winner. So guys, I will show you now the team indexes for next season. And this gives you an indication as to the transfers which we are just about to go through. You can see we are ranked as the 7th best team next season. And you can see it is Alpecin Phoenix coming up to the World Tour. And it is Cofidis who will go back down to Conti Pro level. They're even behind Arceus Samsic. So you can see some movement in the World Tour and Conti Pro teams. And looking further down at the teams coming up to Conti Pro, we've got FC Porto, this Austrian team that I think Yannick Steiner came from, to De Koenig Quickstep. We've got the Czech team, and further down we've got Thailand Conti cycling team also coming up to Conti Pro. And so guys, it is now the moment I expect a lot of you have been looking forward to. I'm going to show you the transfers ahead of next season. We have been fairly active in the market, and there have been some big moves in the world of cycling, so let's take a look right now. So we will start off with Team Bahrain Mclaren, and you can see it is Michał Kwiatkowski, as I mentioned in the last episode, coming to Bahrain Mclaren, a massive signing for the team. Similar age to Landa, hopefully he can be a real domestique in the Grand Tours. He'll probably go for himself as well in some one-day races. And you can see, apart from Kwiatkowski, we've signed a bunch of Italian guys, and to be honest, I don't know a great deal about most of these, apart from Andrea Pasqualon, who's now 32 years old, kind of a punchy sprinter, but to be honest, more of a lead-out man at this level. And apart from Pasqualon, I don't know much about the rest of the riders in this list, to be honest. And sadly, leaving the team this season is Yvan Garcia Cortina, one of the biggest talents, I would say, in cycling in this save. Look how much he is developing very, very nicely indeed. He's going to Mitchelton Scott. We're losing Pernsteiner, who's a very good mountain domestique, to Bora. Padoon's going to Uno X, the Norwegian team, I think. We're also losing Arashiro, Stephen Williams, and Enrico Battaglin. So, hoping our team can make some good progress next season with Landa, Kwiatkowski, and Dylan Toones as the main leaders. 3 very strong riders, I would say. Let's take a look at the other World Tour teams. And by the way, guys, before jumping into it, I did set the contracts to the correct years according to Pro Cycling Stats. So we won't have like Bernal leaving Ineos. Evenepoel won't leave De Koenig Quickstep because they're contracted for a fair few seasons. Just letting you know. So we start with the French outfit, Agituère La Mondiale, and you can see a massive signing straight away. Miguel Angel Lopez has signed for Agituère La Mondiale. Not happy at Astana quickly. He'll be the main leader in this team. They brought in some pretty nice other riders as well. We've got Verona, Nibali, Pierre Roland is here, Lagax here, some pretty nice helpers, Yvan Izagirre as well. Of course, they've also got Bardet, some very nice mountain helpers for Miguel Angel Lopez. Moving on, Astana, obviously losing both Yvan Izagirre and Lopez to Agituère. Haven't really brought in anyone to replace them. They've got Andreas Leknesund, who's a very, very good signing. Very good young Norwegian time trialist, this guy. And you can see, apart from that, don't really recognise any names here. Bora Hansgrohe, and guys, look at this squad. This is a new super squad in cycling. You can see why they're now 4.5 stars on the team index. 3 riders at 79 with Buchmann, Schachmann and Sagan developing very, very nicely. Look at these guys' stats. And you can see they brought in Stefan Kung from FDJ. Very, very strong rider. We know all about him. They've brought in Bob Jungels as well from Quickstep. Very good signing there. Pernsteiner from us. They've got Affini, Kanget, very good helpers. Valscheid, Simon Geschke as well, who's doing very well now in his early to mid 30s. Very, very strong kind of summer signings for Bora Hansgrohe. And yeah, like I said, I think this is 7 riders at least at 77 overall. What a team with still the likes of Lenny Kamner, who's only 24, who will only develop from here. You can see not the busiest time in the transfer window for CCC. They do bring in Miguel Eduardo Flores, a very good young Colombian climber. He will maybe get a leadership role at a Grand Tour this season. And you can see their other signings right here. Next up, Cofidis, who are going down to Conti Pro next season. Still with the likes of Viviani, Martin and Laporte. No real big signings for them though this year. And the same can be said for De Koenig Quickstep, only bringing in Dries de Bont from Alpecin Phoenix, losing Bob Jungels and Iljo Kaiser, but you can see their squad utterly insane. Stibar developing very nicely into his 30s, same with Kasper Asgreen, only 25, look at this guy's stats. Moving on, you can see Education First, no real big signings for the American outfit. Tobias Ludvigsen, perhaps the biggest. They did lose their big GC leader though, Rigoberto Urán. Now 33 years old, he is going to Team Total, and that is perhaps because they want to give a bigger role to their younger riders, in particular Sergio Higuita. Moving on then, FDJ, of course, the holders of the reigning Tour de France champion, Thibaut Pinot. They lost some decent riders though in the likes of Kung, Reichenbach, as well as Kilian Franchini. They brought in Genier from Agituère, and you can see some other guys. I know this guy is a pretty decent young climber from China. Can't see his stats just yet. Also Gino Marder, he's a very good young climber as well. Israel Startup Nation, and you can see straight away it's pretty much a swap deal. Jasper Stuyven and Niels Pollitt swapping teams. So Israel Startup Nation now led by Jasper Stuyven. You can see the rest of their signings as well. Lotto, Sudal, and you can see no real big signings for them. I would say Mads Wertschmidt, the best of the lot. They also brought in the Italian Fabio Aru. I think he's pretty much done though at this point in his career. So then, all change at Mitchelton Scott this season. You can see straight away the Yates brothers have been split up. Adam Yates moving to NTT, but of course Mitchelton Scott's big signing from Bahrain Mclaren, Yvan Garcia Cortina. Just look at these guys' stats, so good, so well rounded. He can sprint, he can get over hills, he can go over cobbles as well. This guy is going to be a major star in the future. So this is a surprise to me. You can see Movistar with no real signings, only Nicolau. Not sure if this guy is any good, to be honest. Only 22 years old though. Of course, they hold the Vuelta champion in Enric Mas and Valverde in what could potentially be his last season next year. Team NTT with some massive signings, it must be said. Adam Yates, their new big star, he will lead the team. Also, Matteo Moschetti, he's the team's new big sprinter as well. He can partner up with Nizzolo very nicely, the two Italians. They also bring in Reichenbach, Groschartner, Cameron Meyer, Ian Stannard is here. Some very good signings, it must be said. Also, Jempi Drocker and Sasha Modolo. Team Ineos then, you can see their big loss was Michał Kwiatkowski coming to Bahrain Mclaren, of course, but they do bring in Nicky Terpstra, Simon Clark, two very decent signings, very experienced heads in the team, but also Thomas Pidcock has joined Ineos at 21 years old. This guy is a future star. Jumbo-Visma haven't really made any moves this summer, as you can see. I don't know anything about any of these guys, to be fair, but they do lose Vingegaard, who's a pretty good young rider. Team Sunweb then, you can see they lose Kelderman, but they do bring in Hagen, who's pretty much his replacement. They also bring in Yetzabol, who's a pretty well-rounded rider. So Trek Segafredo's big signing this year is Nils Pollitt, as I already mentioned, coming from Israel Cycling Academy. Few young riders, I think these guys must be new gens. You can see they do lose Stuyven and Machete though, two big losses for the team. No massive signings for UAE Team Emirates. They do bring in Luka Mezgec from Mitchelton Scott, more of a lead out man I would assume for Philipsen and Christoph, but I would say their big loss is Sebastian Milano. So that is a run through of the World Tour teams. Let's take a quick look at the Conti Pro ranks. Of course, Alpecin Phoenix coming up to World Tour next season. Milano, a massive signing for them, I would suggest. You can see the other guys right here. I must say, I do like this signing from Delco Marseille. They bring in Dorian Godon, just 24 years old, a very talented, well-rounded rider from AG2R. So we can't see all of these guys' stats, but Sport Vlaanderen are in with some very nice signings, I must say. Guillermo van Kielsbroek from CCC. Harm van Hooker, he's a good climber from Lotto Soudal. Also Julian Vermote. So it's a big year for Team Total. You can see Rigoberto Urán and Wilco Kelderman, the two big signings for them, looking pretty strong now, it must be said. Some other pretty decent signings as well. So we're now into November and you can see Alpecin Phoenix, the new team in the World Tour, replacing Cofidis. You can also see Etihad Airways. They take over as a new sponsor of UAE Team Emirates. So as you can see, we have now reached 2021. We are now officially in season 2 of FreeLanda. I've just spent a bit of time setting up the calendar for the season, trying to plan out the season. So let's take a look at the races we'll be doing this year. Starting from the top then, we go to Argentina at the end of January for the Vuelta San Juan. Not sure if it's a race that Landa has done before, but you can see stage 4 and stage 6 in particular, absolute Landa territory. So looking forward to starting our season there. And then as we scroll down, you can see a month off in February pretty much. And then we go to Italy for Strada Bianca, a one-day race, our first one-day race of the season. And after that, you can see a few races. We have Tirreno Adriatico, which is our early season objective. Let's try and win Tirreno this year. That'll be an absolutely great result. You can see stage 4 and the massive stage 5 would be really important in the GC there. And a very busy month of March. We also go to Milan San Remo, staying in Italy, but we didn't ride it last year and maybe having a go at a monument in this one. We then go to Spain for the Volta Ciclista a Catalunya. Some massive mountain stages in this one, which we will absolutely love. And here's where we come to the first kind of question mark in the calendar. I currently only have Liège-Bastogne-Liège of the Ardennes Classics. I could include Amstel Gold and La Flèche Wallonne. We didn't really look like winning last year, even though we were top 15 in both. I would like to ride them. Kind of depends on our fitness and tiredness levels, because after that, we will be going to the Giro d'Italia, our first big objective of the season. We didn't ride it last year. This is our chance at the pink jersey. Cannot wait for this. You can see all the mountain stages, some massive mountains to conquer. Cannot wait for this race. So following our attempt to win the pink jersey at the Giro d'Italia, we need a few weeks off of recovery. We then have the Spanish road race and the Spanish time trial. We are scheduled to ride the Tour of Poland at the moment. That is basically because there are some nice mountain stages in that race, some nice hilly stages as well. We can take this one off though if we're struggling for tiredness. We then have the Classica San Sebastian towards the end of July. No Tour de France, as you would have noticed already. And that is because we will be going to Spain, the homeland of Mikel Landa, to ride La Vuelta a España in August. And the goal for this race will probably depend on how the Giro d'Italia goes for us. If we can win the Giro, Maybe we won't be in the best form in the Vuelta. If we struggle at the Giro, we need to focus all our efforts on being in the best condition possible for the Vuelta a España, and it would be pretty special to win our first Grand Tour in Spain. So our season is almost finished at the Vuelta a España. We are currently scheduled to ride the 2 Canadian races that we did pretty well in at the end of last season. We also have Il Lombardia and Milan Torino on the schedule. Of course, this will depend on our fitness at the time. So you can see here how I've set up the fitness for the season. Building up slowly, we're currently at 81%. Building up slowly into the Vuelta San Juan, we won't be in good form for that race, but we will slowly build up to Tirreno Adriatico and the Volta Ciclista a Catalunya. We'll then come down a few weeks off, maybe go into the Ardennes Classics, of course, build up to the Giro d'Italia, and unlike the Tour de France, we want to be in peak form in week 3 of the Giro. Then of course we'll need a few weeks off. Won't be in good form for the Spanish Champs and the Tour of Poland. Moving on, we will slowly be building up to the Vuelta a España, and then of course we'll try and keep that form through the end of the season. And so guys, that pretty much rounds out this episode. Hope you're looking forward to the season ahead. I cannot wait for it myself. And I really hope by the end of it, we can say we are a Grand Tour winner. Before going guys, I do want to say a massive thank you for all the support on the series so far. It doesn't go unappreciated. And I'm glad you're enjoying this series as much as I am producing it. And we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm in a bit of a race with Blackwar. If you don't know him, he produces some fantastic PCM videos as well. We're both on a very similar number of subscribers going for 1,000. Hopefully we can both get that within the next month. So if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. One more thing guys, a lot of you are asking if there's going to be more career modes on the channel. I am trying to focus on FreeLanda at the moment, but I can say there will be some career mode content coming to you very soon. Can't spoil it, but looking forward to that very much. But anyhow guys, if you enjoyed this one, do drop a like on the video, that really helps the channel out. Subscribe to my channel as well if you're new, and I'll see you at the Vuelta San Juan.